Hello and welcome to this lesson. We are going to work on sketching and coloring Elsa's character using simple colored pencils. We need to understand how delicate the features need to be and include them in our sketch. Start with the face. Use minimum hand pressure. And follow my hand movements. To simplify forms, we are going to use shapes to depict them. For the head, we are going to use the shape of a circle to determine the form of the head. Complete the form of the face and add the ears. One of the ways to show the delicacy of the characters is by working on the features in this way. Pay attention to the lines I'm adding for the character's neck. It can also be seen in the form of the chin and the jawline, as well as the prominent cheeks. Make sure the shoulders are thin and delicate. Use the back and forth movement of your pencil with minimum hand pressure. Look closely at my hand movements. When I am going to work on the strands of hair, start firmly at the roots and let go of the lines at the end. Hair in these characters is always floating nicely around them. And we need to consider this as one of the characteristics of our characters when drawing them. Work on the braided hair and determine the right places and forms for it with minimum hand pressure. Now we need to complete the form of the body. Consider the shape and size of the shoulder and add your lines for the rest. There are features that the characters are known for, like the type of clothing, the hairstyle, and colors. We add them in our sketch. Moving on, we are going to determine the right place for the eyes. Draw the guiding line with low hand pressure as I do, followed by the guiding lines for the nose and the lips. Start with the eyes. Keep in mind that we need to draw them larger than usual. Draw the upper and lower eyelid and the rest of the details. And use minimum hand pressure to show the darker parts with delicate shading layers. Use the sharp tip of the pencil to add the eyebrow. The nose is small and needs to be drawn with a few lines. Follow my hand movements. Time for the other eye. Consider its size being smaller as the face is in the 3/4 angle view. Using the guiding lines helps us keep the direction of the eyes and their forms intact. We can use the facial features to show expressions. Pay attention to the form of the eyes and eyebrows, as well as the narrow lips. We are almost done with the initial sketch. Revisit the different parts, strengthen the lines, and add more details on your way. Add delicate shading layers on the darker parts, where we have shadows. Emphasize the darker details in general, like the pupils and the upper eyelids where we have eyelashes as well. We can emphasize some of the strands of hair to show the forms better. Continue adding the delicate shading layers, with minimum hand pressure on the chin and under the eyes to show the forms. The next step is working on the shading layers for the hair. Make sure they are added following the flow of the hair. One more time, we are adding more layers for the darker shadows. Remember that this is a step-by-step process. The back and forth movement of the pencil helps us increase the darkness. Now, we are going to add colored layers with this dark purple tone. We are going to add the light blue layers for the iris, and use the black colored pencil for the pupil and the upper eyelids line. Do not forget the eyelashes. Add them one by one in the right direction. Use the color red to add a warm shadow on the upper eyelid. Continue with black for the shading layers. Make sure you are using minimum hand pressure. Use the red color under the nose and the lips as well. Look at my hand movements and try to work as delicately as possible. Use the darker pencil to work on the form of the upper lip, and add the proper shading layers for the lips in general. Use the same pale pink and add the initial shading layers for the upper eyelid. Work on the blue layers for the iris just like you did for the other eye. Continue working on the eye with the color black. The techniques are the same as we did for the other eye. Add the thicker line above the eye and work on the eyelashes and the pupil. Use dark purple for the darker shadows above the eye. Emphasize the darker shadows with black-colored pencil. And work on the eyebrow. Continue the shading layers to the nose. Work on the darker shadows again. On the hair and the rest of the face at the same time with me, using the black color pencil with minimum hand pressure. Keep in mind that your lines for the hair need to be following the form of the hair. Complete the shading layers on the face. As you know, in this way, we can add to the dimensional values of the work as well. Move to the hair and follow the form of the hair and the general form of the face when you are adding the layers. Look at my hand movements and repeat after me. Keep working on the head and build up your layers one by one. We need to work on the strands of hair one by one. Take your time and go through your lines and layers delicately. Moving lower. We are going to work on the strands of hair forming the braided hair. Pay attention to the forms and build up your layers. We are going to emphasize the lines for the shoulders and the face to add to the shading layers for them to show the forms better. See how simple and delicate shading layers add dimension to the different parts of the work. Look at the work in general and see its different parts as a whole. Then add to your shading layers and hatching lines following the forms. This is it for this lesson. Thank you for watching. And I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next tutorials. Until next time, goodbye.